Well, you've heard the expression, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, right? Well, with a lot of the trouble that's going on here in 2026, the divisiveness and just everything, people are just in a bad mood all the time. There's a trend now to say, boy, I sure wish it was like it was back in the 90s because that was so much better.
But hold up. I don't know if we're remembering correctly, right?
Yeah, we'll find out because John and Nancy are still talking. So I saw a discussion of this online, just people talking about how great the 90s were compared to the 2000s.
Right.
Like the 90s were so great.
It's very typical, though, isn't that?
It is.
People are like, oh, back in the day, it was so great.
But these are a lot of people that were saying that didn't grow up in that era. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of people who lived through the 90s were on this discussion that I saw who were going like, wait.
Hold up.
Not so fast. Mm-hmm. There was a lot about the 90s that wasn't so great and that you don't remember because you're too young.
And really nothing is ever perfect.
Right.
It's an evolving world. Right.
The one thing that I remember from the 90s, and this is just because I spent a lot of time playing in clubs, playing in bands, in clubs in the 90s. The smoke was horrific.
Oh, yeah, right.
Seriously. And even in restaurants, you'd be trying to eat.
You'd leave and you'd smell like smoke.
Every time you play in a club, you'd be up on stage, right?
Yeah.
So you'd be standing up on a stage. So all the smoke goes to the ceiling. And they didn't have those smoke eater things back in the day. Those came in late in the 90s.
Yeah, when did things get changed? I mean, because in the 90s, cigarette smoke was everywhere, and not to mention cigarette butts.
Yes.
You'd see them all over the place.
But it was just
I can't remember,
So if you want to say something that's better about 2026, so much less smoking going on, and it's just better for everybody involved.
Now, we've got like some tongue-in-cheek things here. Like somebody on the internet said, getting locked out of your house after school or locked out of wherever you live, and having no way to contact either your parents or somebody else, like, I am locked out, I need you to come home or come get me, or you just sit on your porch for 3 hours.
I was trying to think of when I got my first actual cell phone. I mean, they were bag phones, that we had for work.
Yeah.
But probably not till end of the 90s is when I got my first actual cell phone. It was Central Illinois when they used to do 360 communications.
Sure.
We got one of those phones with the antenna on it.
Yeah. Well,
you look like a spaceman.
This on this little list, it also talks about so if you've been locked out of your home, have you ever actually tried to break into a home? Into your home, not a home.
Into your own house?
Into your own house because you got locked out. Have you ever done that?
Never.
Okay, so people were commenting on that. It's like, okay, well, just had to break in then.
I got 2 words. Actually, it's 3 words that were awful in the 90s.
What's
Ready?
that?
Blockbuster late fees.
Yeah.
You had to go rent movies, and then if you forgot it, you know what I mean? It was,
or you forgot to rewind it all the way. You got a
they
fee.
would charge you money to bring back the videotapes.
Yeah.
To rewind it. There's still one Blockbuster left out in Oregon, I think. That's it.
Can you rent movies?
Yes, I still think they'll charge you a late fee, too, just for old time's sake.
Yeah. Now, this also, and I'm going to say this is important, because the one thing that social media has made or allowed us is to keep in touch with friends and family who move away, who don't live near you.
Correct.
Because back in the 90s, if your best friend moved away, you had the phone that was on the wall to keep in touch with them. Or you could write a letter.
Yeah.
Right. Not a lot of ways to keep up with them. And so that has improved, I'd say.
The other thing about the 90s that wasn't really great was just that you usually did just have one phone for your house, right? Or, or one phone line. So anytime you were on the phone with somebody, someone else could pick up the line in the house and just interrupt your conversation.
Listen in.
Yeah, or in my case, it was always like, okay, it's dinner time. You're
off
talking
the
to
phone.
some girl, and all of a sudden Dad would be on, and when their mom would be on.
This is a big one. So we used to lay out in the backyard, right?
I'll bet.
I know. And we'd hear a song come on that we loved, and we'd press, record because on our tape player because we'd want to hear it because we just didn't have access to it. So back in the 90s, hearing a great song was awesome, but you didn't know whenever you'd hear it again.
Unless you couldn't hold up your phone and go, "Who's this by?" And it would tell you, right? I'll take that all the way back to when I was a kid. We used to wait on the radio and record songs on cassette.
That's what I was saying.
So all
on
your
cassette
songs would always be the song would have already started.
Yeah, exactly.
All the beginnings were cut off.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was talking about, for sure. No, that's for sure.
I will say this about the 90s. Electronics were a heck of a lot more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a 57-inch television now for about $200.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Brand new, in the box, hooked up to Wi-Fi, all that stuff. And back in the 90s, you'd get these televisions that were the size of a bus, right? The big, giant screen things in a cabinet. It was ridiculous. So that's better now. So, the electronics is much more lean.
You know, we sound kind of depressing right now.
I know, right?
And I'm going to bring it up because I was commenting on the news today, how depressing the news is today.
Right.
Well, back in the 90s, there was lots of terrible, scary stuff. Violent crime rates of the early 90s were apparently really bad. The AIDS crisis, Columbine, Waco, the Oklahoma City bombings. So, I mean, it wasn't all great back then.
But we're going to finish on a high note.
Yes, please, let's do that.
So the 90s, whereas it might not have been great for everybody, it certainly is probably across the board no different than it is now, just, in good, bad scenarios. But for me personally, I got married in the 90s.
Me
I had
too.
my first child in the 90s. Mm-hmm. I got this job here in Peoria in the 90s.
Same.
So 90s had a lot of good stuff going for me.
Lots of good things happened to me, too.
I met Nancy Flagg in the 90s.
I graduated from college.
Yeah, you're a child, but that's okay.
Met my husband, like you said.
Right.
Got married.
Yeah.
Met you.
Yeah.
Hey.
So we always like to end on a high note.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, because if you keep listening,
we'll keep talking.
Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.
Bye.